Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here with you. And, as I've alluded to on more than one occasion, to your knowledge, before I worked at ESPN, I was in St. Louis, working in St. Louis in local television for 6 years. Yeah, I know. I'm sure shocked.
It's amazing.
I also went to Baylor.
I was going to say, I went to Notre Dame.
Get out of here.
Let's just air all this very new and exciting news today.
That stuff never happens. But during my time in St. Louis, I was there when the Rams moved from L.A. to St. Louis. And one of the players that made that transition and then went on to become a superstar during my time in St. Louis was Isaac Bruce, who over the weekend of the Super Bowl was one of the members of the 2020 class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so we are delighted to be joined now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line by Isaac Bruce. Isaac, thanks for being with us this morning, man. Congratulations on finally getting in. What was your initial reaction when you heard the knock on the door?
Hey, guys, thanks for having me on, man. To be honest, man, I was very excited. You have that moment where your heart kind of jumps into your stomach once you get the knock. But I was super excited. My family was super excited. All the fans back in St. Louis, Los Angeles, we were excited about it, man. And I can't wait till August.
And the journey of this is always interesting for me. Everyone's Hall of Fame story is different. But when you know you're up for it and you don't get in, how much sweeter does it make that moment to know you've been on the other side of that phone call door knocking situation?
Well, I was taking coaching from other guys who were in a similar situation, who thought they were deserving, was on the ballot, was a finalist, and didn't get the knock. But they came back and told me, once you get the knock, you forget about all of that. I mean, it was just that. It was the frustration left, the disappointment, didn't remember it, but just having the knock, man, and just knowing that people have decided to really, really, really just push your greatness or just see everything that you've done on the field and your body of work. It was honor being enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, man. I was just super excited.
Isaac Bruce with us. Isaac, I have to ask, where are you right now? Because we hear birds chirping. It sounds like you're at the Masters or something at Augusta National. Where are you right now?
Welcome to South Florida, man. I'm outside right now, and I'm orchestrating my children getting to school this morning.
Oh, good. Listen, I know I've been there, done that, my friend. I know that is indeed something that requires a conductor's tempo to get done. So we appreciate you joining us while that's happening. It's actually a big year for the Hall of Fame in St. Louis because not only is Isaac Bruce going in, but Steve Atwater, longtime Denver Bronco, played his high school ball at Lutheran North in St. Louis. And Isaac, what does it mean for you to go into the Hall of Fame? And now Kurt Warner is there, Marshall Faulk is there, and we're seeing so many members of what was considered the greatest show on turf, that explosive offense all those years in St. Louis, finally be recognized for what you were able to do on the field.
Well, it means a lot, man. It just kind of makes you, have two thoughts. One of those thoughts is that, we probably should have won more Super Bowls. And just once again, just thinking about the great talent that we had in the huddle at the same time. I mean, from Big O, who made it possible that we could have 7-step drops, 5-step drops, and everything we wanted to do was really centered around him, to Marshall, to Kurt, to Torrey. It's just a special group of guys that were all in St. Louis in one huddle at the same time. So it made it very special what we did on offense. And we still see a lot of offenses trying to mimic what we did, what we put together.
Isaac Bruce was a 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver and won a Super Bowl with the Rams. And Player Resume is brought to you by Indeed, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Isaac, we hear the speeches every year at the Hall of Fame, and no one ever gets there alone is generally what we tend to learn. Was there someone or a group of people that you thought of right away when you got the news, like, I'm so thankful for this person and what they were able to help me do to get to this?
You know what? Two people, man. First of all, besides my parents, those were the first people that really crossed my mind. The hard work that they did raising 15 children in South Florida, that was great. As far as football is concerned, there's two people, Coach Mike Martz and Coach Henry Ellett. They did a tremendous job preparing and helping me to develop into the player that I was. And, Coach Ellett, he has a resume that's worthy of Hall considerations as well. But just the knowledge that Coach Martz brought to the table, his confidence, his ability to manipulate defenses and to help us succeed. those guys right there started flashing through my mind, along with a long list of my teammates throughout my journey from each stopping point, from college to the pros. And I was very grateful for those guys and made sure I gave them all a phone call. And we're going to have a huge party in Canton this summer.
Isaac Bruce with us, Hall of Famer of the class of 2020. I think we need to go back and just recognize your parents again. Did you say 15 children in your parents' household?
Absolutely, 15, man. So, they did a great job. I mean, my dad didn't finish up to a sixth grade education. He was a business owner in South Florida, a roofer for well over 40 years, and did a tremendous job raising us all.
That is my. I had two, and my hands were full. So hats off to your parents more than anything else. What we've learned this morning.
Oh, absolutely, man! The greatest parents in the world, Jesse and Caretha Bruce.
What's the biggest thing you learned growing up with 14 siblings in a house?
Hard work, faith, work ethic. They are very important. Those were things that were imparted unto us from our parents. And just to be encouraging of each other, man, always having each other's back, and that we had our own teams when we needed it. And to this day, we're very supportive of each other, and we look out for each other big time.
Well, listen, you have to with that many siblings, and you guys, as the Rams, did that as a team, as Isaac Bruce is with us. And now that you're in the Hall and you have your induction ceremony coming up in August, and, of course, ESPN will be there, and I'll be there. I'd be excited to be a part of it. You have a megaphone. And you mentioned a name that is not yet in the Hall of Fame, and that is your fellow wide receiver in St. Louis, Torrey Holt. So you have the opportunity now and the platform to make the case for one of the rarest things, really, in all of football and sports in general, Isaac, is to have two players on the same team that played the same position go into the Hall of Fame at some point. Lynn Swann and John Stallworth of the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s come to mind. What would you say to those people who were on the fence maybe about Torrey Holt and whether or not he was a big game Torrey, as he was called to, as being in the Hall of Fame? What would you say to those voters who needed to be swayed?
Well, I'll tell you what, every team in the National Football League is looking for two guys that can really command the defense or command a double team. We were fortunate to have that. For a lot of years, I was a solo show for a while in St. Louis. Once we drafted Torrey Holt, I pretty much knew right from the moment he got in St. Louis that he'd be a phenomenal football player. The guy came in, he was very knowledgeable of the game. He was coachable. He worked very hard. And, my message to the voters would be, look at this guy's career from a standpoint of who he had around him and what he was still able to do. He's the only receiver to have 1,300 consecutive yards receiving in the National Football League. So that's phenomenal. And he always rose to the top. He played in big games and had impactful moments throughout his career. I think it's very well deserving that he be in the Hall of Fame, and it won't be long before he's inducted, I think.
It's amazing, Isaac, that there were enough footballs to go around for two potential Hall of Famers in the same offense, but that's how great you guys were. The greatest show on turf was a well-earned moniker for the style of your guys' play. How much of what you guys did do you see in the modern NFL, especially with the explosion of passing offenses now?
Well, not much, but from a standpoint, what was even more amazing is that, we were egoless in the approach. I mean, I celebrated what he did. He celebrated what I did. When it was time to be the decoy, we took great pride in it. As far as what we see today, I think a lot of teams are still trying to put together what we had as a unit in St. Louis. When you have a team called the greatest show on turf, and with the personnel that we had, I think it's the standard right now. I mean, the gauntlet that the people are going through right now is totally different from what we played in, but they're still trying to achieve what we did as a group. And it's hard to get that personnel together, with so many of us being in our prime at that time.
It certainly is. And let's not forget that third wide receiver in that group was Oz Akeem.
Oh,
you put that guy who was so shifty and so fast, plus you and Torrey Holt on the outside, it did create so many problems for defensive coordinators. As Isaac Bruce is with us this morning, and I want to get to one name that you haven't mentioned yet, and that was your head coach when you guys won the Super Bowl, Dick Vermeil. I was there at those training camps in Macomb, Illinois, at Western Illinois University, when there was a transition period between the Rams and Dick Vermeil where the players had to say, hey, we need to dial back a little bit on what we're doing here in training camp because you are killing us right now. And for the betterment of what we want to accomplish as a team, we need to sort of not beat ourselves to a pulp in this camp. And the most remarkable about thing is he listened and it worked.
Absolutely, man. You know, those 2 years prior to Coach Marks coming on board, you know, it was tough. I think we were the best second half team because we didn't get started until the third quarter because we were so beat up and sore. Unfortunately, we're mostly 21 points down every time that started. But I mean, Coach Vermeil, one of the most loyal guys I've ever been around. He calls and checks in on you for no reason at all. He's done that since I've retired, and a great friend. Whatever he can do to help his former players, he's always on the front line doing it. So, but just being the coach, I mean, he's my coach when I think about my playing days. He's the first guy that I think about as far as being my head coach, and we love him to life.
Absolutely. So, Isaac, appreciate you being with us a little bit this morning. Go orchestrate what you got to do with your kids. The birds are tweeting. It's a beautiful day. And if not before, I'll see you in Canton, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Trey.
You got it, brother. Always one of the nicest guys in the world, Isaac Bruce.
It's so impressive. Like he said, still believes we're the standard that modern offenses like Patrick Mahomes, the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs, are trying to emulate right now, just to make obviously well ahead of the offensive explosion of the rules around receiving we've seen now.
Clearly, he pulled a Mike Golic Jr. When you have the chance to stunt, you stunt.
He did. I was giving him a chance to talk about the guys down. He's like, no.
Yeah.
We're talking about us.
They were tough to beat.
We did this.
They were absolutely a lot of fun to watch. And we'll have fun watching Isaac Bruce go into the Hall of Fame as the class of 2020 coming up later on this year in August. Coming up, will one longtime Cowboy actually test free agency? We'll get to that after this.
Ball knocked out of his hands and stolen by Butler. Butler a drive, layup, good, and a foul. Jared Butler the steal, and he'll have a chance at a three-point play.
It's outsounded on Learfield. IMG College, top-ranked Baylor beat Oklahoma 65-54.
I'm sorry, top-ranked who?
Baylor.
There it is.
They win their 23rd straight game. They break the Big 12 record set by Kansas back in 96-97, a team led by Paul Pierce and Rafe LaFrentz. Baylor also became the third team to start 13-0 in Big 12 play, joining 2009-2010 Kansas and 2001-2002 Kansas. Kansas has been good at basketball. Baylor has locked down its opponents, allowing 58.2 points per game. That's on pace to be the fewest in season Big 12 history. You can catch Baylor against Kansas, ESPN, Saturday this weekend. On to the NBA, the Cavaliers announced they are parting ways with head coach John Beilein. They are promoting associate head coach J.B. Bickerstaff to full-time coach, and he will run his first practice Wednesday evening, league sources tell our own Adrian Wojnarowski. Beilein is expected to say goodbye to his staff and players in the late afternoon on Wednesday, as players and coaches are all returning from the All-Star break, all league sources also told our very own Adrian Wojnarowski. Cavs are 14-40 and have the second worst win percentage in the league. And finally, in honor of Black History Month, let's take a look at what Charles Barkley did on this day back in 1996. As a member of the Phoenix Suns, that Hall of Famer pulled down his 10,000th rebound of his career. In the first quarter, the Suns win 98-94 in overtime over Vancouver. He became the 10th NBA player with 20,000 points and 10,000 rebounds in a career. And that is SportsCenter, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk Wireless has the full court cell phone coverage you need. Get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month, saving yourself up to half the cost of big carriers. Everything for less. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You do not want your franchise quarterback, tagged or untagged, not being there until training camp.
I think this has actually gone on too long already.
He's done everything right.
Just say I'm confident. I'm confident a new contract is coming.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter.
Hi, Golic and Wingo with you. Glad you're with us on a Wednesday morning, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guest join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You may think you have the best pipes in the business, but you would be incorrect, because we're now joined in studio by the guy who does have the best pipes in the business, and that is our football analyst and former #1 first-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys, Marcus Spears, joining us in studio, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart. How we living?
What's up, my brother?
There we go. We're
What's
back,
up,
baby.
man?
We are back.
Dang it, I've been gone for a long time. It's a lot to catch up on.
Well, we're okay.
It has been rather amazing.
There has been some content. There's no question about it. Let us begin with the team that plays in the city, in the state where you played your college ball, and that would be the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees is coming back, but to me, Marcus, Drew Brees is the least interesting, for lack of a better term, of all the quarterbacks that the Saints have to deal with. Of course, he's going to be the starter and going forward. But now that that's out of the way, what does that really mean for Taysom Hill and then Teddy Bridgewater, who is going to be an unrestricted free agent, whom the Saints had a lot of success with last year?
Teddy is going to be a hot commodity on this market. We already know the position warrants a lot of interest.
Correct.
The fact that Teddy had success in Minnesota, the catastrophic injury, and then being that Drew Brees was out was the best thing that ever happened to Teddy Bridgewater. For him to get a chance to actually play in meaningful games and win them. Now, was it prolific? No. But a lot of teams played really good football without prolific quarterback play this year and gave themselves an opportunity to win. And can Teddy possibly get back to the level he played at when he was in Minnesota is the question that everybody's going to ask. I think it's one of the most interesting free agents in the whole thing. I mean, we've been talking about Tom Brady. We've been talking about, obviously, Dak and his contract situation in Dallas. A lot of guys out here. But Teddy, to me, is very interesting. Miami wanted Teddy Bridgewater previously.
Right.
And he decided to go back to New Orleans, obviously under the tutelage of Sean Payton. Maybe could Teddy shock us and still stay in waiting if somebody doesn't offer him $20 to $30 million?
See, I find that fascinating.
Well, and
Don't
I guess
you?
that's my question is, do you think that's what the Saints' plan is right now? Would they be open to that? Because it seems like Sean Payton has a love affair with Taysom Hill that the rest of us get. Like when you're taking a future Hall of Famer and Drew Brees off the field for plays in favor of a guy, you better love that dude. Do you think the Saints are planning on Taysom Hill as their succession plan at this point?
I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm not in no means knocking Taysom Hill or can he play quarterback. It's tough to play quarterback in this league when you haven't done it on a consistent basis.
Throwing 13 passes.
Everybody knows that, right? He's a tremendous football player.
Right.
Is he a tremendous quarterback?
Well,
That's the question.
Yeah, you brought this up. To me, what we're seeing with Taysom Hill is what Tim Tebow could have been.
Yeah.
Right? If he had chosen.
Utility.
Yeah. And listen, that's not knock. Tim wants to do the baseball thing, and that's fine by him. Had he chosen to not be just a starting quarterback, what we're seeing from Taysom Hill could have been what Tim Tebow could have been.
100%.
Yeah.
Trey, we all talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, can he play multiple positions? That's the way you stay in the league. You know this from what everybody knows. When a guy is going into the league and he doesn't specifically have a standout ability, whether that's offensive line, defensive line, what does everybody say? You better make the special teams.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into the 53-man roster, and then possibly you dress for a game, and they figure out some packages and some things for you to do. That's Taysom Hill right now.
Yep.
He does it at the highest level. He's very impactful when he's at a game. But can you drop back 35, 40 times? Can you matriculate the ball down the field when you're not making those explosive dynamic plays is the question that everybody has. Can he do it? We don't know. But what we do know is the success rate of guys going from being sort of a utility guy to a full-time starter at the quarterback spot in Sean Payton's system is very difficult to do.
Well, in any other system, too. I mean, you think that the Patriots could be interested in a guy like Taysom Hill for the right price if Tom Brady's gone.
Right, not specifically to replace Tom Brady, but I think they love the versatility that he. Remember, it was the Patriots who gave Tim Tebow his last chance in an NFL preseason. So, and the thing about Taysom versus Teddy, to me, if they believed Taysom was going to be that going forward,
he'd have been too.
Exactly. He wouldn't have started. Teddy wouldn't have started all five of those games. To me, along those lines, that's a clear indication to me of who they think the actual line of succession might be.
He had some really good he had some preseason moments.
Yeah.
He was the best player in their playoff game.
No question.
Yeah.
Quarterback though. How can we legit come in here and say, well, Taysom Hill is the succession plan? Hell no. The dude ain't threw over 100 passes.
But he said that's what he wants to be.
He can do it. Tim said it too.
Yeah.
A lot of dudes said it.
I said I wanted to play in the NFL. We saw how that worked out.
Man,
like,
listen.
Things happen. Teddy's an interesting sticking point for me in this offseason because we know the quarterback hierarchy. Tom Brady's the first domino we're waiting to fall. Phillip Rivers is probably not far after that. Then we get to an interesting spot. And Trey brought this up earlier, and I want to ask you, Marcus, because I don't know which side of this you're on. If Jameis Winston becomes available, and you've got the choice after those first through of a guy like Jameis Winston who has played markedly more football, but we know the flaws, versus a guy like Teddy Bridgewater who's trying to work back to what we think he can be. Which one of those would you be more willing to bet on?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Huh.
I know people are going, look, I've heard it said. And see, this is the thing. This is what kills me when I'm not on TV, right? When I hear people say, well,
things.
It's only been a few 5,000-yard passers.
Yeah.
And it's only been and Peyton Manning threw just as many interceptions in his first 5 years and all of that. Man, did we not just watch Jameis throw 30 interceptions?
First member of the 30-30 club.
At what point do you address the fact that Jameis Winston, now he had LASIK. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be funny.
That's real.
Maybe that helps him. And maybe that was an issue. And if it was, you got a damn good quarterback. But if it wasn't, you got a dude that's going to throw 15 to, I don't want to say 30. That's
20.
15 to 20 interceptions a year. Can you win with that? No, you cannot win with that. Turnover margin is the biggest discrepancy between winning and losing in this game. You have to have a premium on taking care of the ball. Just like we talked about Teddy just now. You know what Teddy didn't do in them starts? Turn the football over. You give your team a better chance to win. What I'm interested in is this. When Bruce Arians went to Tampa, everybody was on board. We was like, if anybody can get Jameis Winston to play at a high level, it's Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
He couldn't. I mean, the production obviously was there. But when you come into the sideline and your quarterback coming off a 3-interception game, a 4-interception game, and you're looking at your offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, and you asking yourself, what can we do to protect this guy? Nothing. Because he's been doing it way before you got there.
That offense with every weapon possible,
my goodness,
by the way.
Yeah.
Every weapon,
Goodwin
every level.
And Mike Evans were incredible.
You had two Pro Bowl wide receivers in the same offense. You have two tight ends that
Jameis ain't throwing picks
to.
for lack of talent around him.
See, that's the problem with Jameis. Two things there. Number one, it's not like that this season was a one-off. Since 2015, he's had more turnovers, interceptions, and fumbles than anybody in the league, and it ain't even close. He's got, I think, a double-digit lead or close to it over Phillip Rivers. And the other thing is, when I heard when someone said, can you win with another quarterback, and Bruce Arians said, well, if we won with this one, we can win with another one. I'm not reading tea leaves, but that tells me we are looking for a new postcode,
brother,
for Jameis Winston in the 2020 season.
That was as clear as day for me. Y'all know me. It's either on the right side or the left side of the line. So here's the thing. I'm going to reiterate this until I die on one of these shows one day, because I'm the old man doing this. You are going to go all in when you like and love your quarterback.
Correct.
You will not mince words. You will not say, well, we'll see. None of that. You look. Take Drew Brees for instance. Drew Brees, I don't know where he was. Where was he, Trey? Was he in Bali? Was it Fiji?
He was in Hawaii.
He was in Hawaii. Yeah. A beautiful setting like
Highly
that.
recommend.
You know what I'm saying? And the New Orleans Saints whole brass was sitting in New Orleans, some of them on Canal Street eating, some of them having a good time listening to some music. It's always something to do. Waiting on pins and needles to find out if Drew Brees was going to come back and play quarterback.
Yeah.
You know why? Because that's their plan.
Correct.
And it was not going to be any other word. Now, you say, Marcus, well, you talk about a Hall of Famer. No, it's other guys that vouch for their guy.
Right.
Vouch for your guy, or it's room for somebody else.
Totally agree. Much more with Marcus, including where his guy is now going to be at the next level and how much is he willing to swing the hammer that he has. We'll get to that after this.
After this word from AutoZone, AutoZone has more ways for you to get what you need when you need it. With their free same-day store pickup, you can place your order online and grab what you need today at more than 5,600 AutoZone locations. For emergencies like your car battery failing, timing is everything. Luckily, you can pick up a new one same day at AutoZone with their free in-store pickup, and you get free next-day delivery available on over 100,000 parts, including ones for jobs like replacing your brake pads and rotors or installing new wipers. Visit AutoZone.com today to start your job fast. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Two teams. Do they got love for the right quarterback?